Welcome to At Home with Music. I'm Leon Olguin. We still have a little bit more to cover when it comes to voicing chords. The last video was starting to get a little bit too long, and so there were some things I didn't get a chance to cover. So this is what this video is going to be about, a little bit more about voicing chords. So we're going to switch to the overhead camera, and here we go. Okay, just to do a quick review of what we went over in the last video, we talked about voicing chords. We began with voicing basic triads in root position using both hands. So, for example, we started with this basic C major chord, where we played the root in an octave in the left hand. So the left hand can play an octave, or it could play the root and the fifth, or it could play the root and the third. You have to kind of stretch out to get that one. We also talked about how it's a good idea most of the time not to double the third. So this wouldn't sound as good as this. But the exception is if you're playing along and this happens to be the melody note. That doesn't sound too bad at all, does it? We also went over playing these basic three-note triads in first inversion. So here, for example, is F minor in first inversion. The chord symbol would be F minor over A flat, or G over B. A lot of times when you play in first inversion, it's a good idea to play an octave, but you can use the other intervals as well. Here, for example, is the third and the root. And so we're not doubling the third, but we are doubling the root, which always sounds good. Here, for example, going back to the F minor over A flat, we were doubling the third, being A flat, but because it's the octave, it doesn't really count. So it would be like playing this, but we're going to play with the octave. Here's one where we play the third and the fifth, then the root, and we double the root up here. So we did first inversion of basic triads, voicing them with two hands. Then we did second inversion, basic triads, voicing them with two hands. So we started with this example. The chord symbol would be D over A. This is really D major in second inversion because the fifth is now the lowest note. So we had this example. We played G minor over D, or G minor second inversion. Notice how it could resolve to something like this. So that D, which starts out as the fifth of the G minor chord, now becomes the root of the D major chord. Same thing with this E flat over B flat. This B flat is the fifth of the E flat major chord, but now it becomes the root of B flat. And so you have this nice plagal cadence. Then we got a little bit more fancy and talked about sixth chords, all in root position still. Here, for example, is B flat 6. And spread it out a little bit. Playing a 10th in the bass, or the root and the third. Now notice here we do double the third. There's the third. But we also have doubled the root. So it still sounds good. Here we've got the root in the bass, and we've tripled the root actually. And then the rest of the chord, here's G6 and G6. We also got some 6/9 chords in there. Now we're dealing with 5 notes in the chord. Here's one a little bit more spread out. Here's C6/9, but no third. But we can put the third in by, let's see, we can stick it in Put it up on top. So there's the third, but it's not doubled, but the root is doubled. And we played a G minor 6/9 and an F 6/9. Now, the video was starting to get a little bit too long, and so we did not get into playing inverted versions of the sixth chords and the 6/9 chords. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Spend a little bit of time exploring the different voicings that we can come up with using these chords. Let's take G6, for example. Normally we'd play it like this. That's just your basic G6 in root position. But what if we played it in first inversion? We put the B as the lowest note, and then we added the rest of the notes. We could actually double the third, and it still sounds pretty good. Or we could play it this way. Now we have the fifth, or actually you could call this second inversion. G minor 6. Here we have put the D as the lowest note, and so this is G minor 6 in second inversion. Here's F 6/9 in what we might call first inversion. The low note is now the third of the chord. Remember, we have the root, third, fifth, sixth, ninth. And so we're rearranging all these notes. So we spread them out and we get an F 6/9. How about this? We'll put the C on the bottom, add A, and then kind of cluster the rest of them together. Now, the interesting thing about this, it still sounds very nice. We're doubling the fifth. The root's only in there one time. Here's another version of it. So one way that you can play around with this is you can start with the basic 6/9 chord, and then, let's see, if we take the F and put it up here, we end up with this. That's kind of a cool clustery sound. What if we take this D and stick it up here? That sounds a little less like F6, but what if we put an extra F in there? Yeah, that will work. We could also play something like this. So as you can see, there's a lot of experimentation that you can do. Here's something like A flat 6/9. This is built almost on fourths. It's a very jazzy sound. Now, A flat 6/9, you remember, would be like this if we play it like that. And so we may want to try and rearrange the notes in some way. Let's see, we could add another E flat on top of it. We could also, let's see, we got to get all the notes in there. There's another way we can do it. We have now got the root in there. There's the third, but it's not doubled. There's the fifth, there's the sixth, there's the ninth. You could take this A flat up here, put it down here. I kind of like this open sound though. This is F minor 6/9, but there's no root. Now, isn't that interesting? Even without the F in there, it still sounds like F minor, because we have this interval, which strongly suggests F minor, because we have a note that's close to F, which is G. Now, we could stick the F in there. Now we have this big cluster chord. That's pretty cool as well. Here's a spread out C 6/9 with the fifth in the root. Whoops, didn't quite play that right. That's kind of an interesting sound. We could take that C up here, play it down here, or maybe play it like this. Now we've got all the notes rearranged. There are endless possibilities when it comes to voicing both the basic chords and the fancier chords. I encourage you to take some of the chords that I've already played here and transpose them into other keys. The next thing we're going to do, as I mentioned in my previous video, is to take some songs and I can show you how to play them using these chord voicings that we've been studying. You'll be able to play both as an accompanist and as a soloist by using these different types of chord voicings. Well, as it is with many musical concepts, we're only scratching the surface here. We're not even dealing yet with the even fatter chords that have more notes in them. But we'll get around to those. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave those in the comments section. I'll be sure to respond. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. You know what to do. I appreciate those of you who have taken the time to subscribe. So thanks again, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one.